Welcome one, welcome all, one more time here on your wonderful, wonderful program here. We call this program Sankofa, looking backwards at the future. And here we are today again in our conversation, greater conversation of the development of the African people. There's no better time than this. And if you are anywhere on a Sunday, I want to tell you that this is now officially our church site. Yeah, on Sundays, Bishop, the only advantage, we're not collecting your tithes and offerings. We want to collect a tithe of your thinking, a tithe of your Africanicity, and collect a little bit of what is left and bring it back, bring things back into context. I'm so excited to be welcoming you again on our program, and we have a wonderful guest for you. As you already know, every fortnight we have with us here Ubayete, Bhungane, Ngelengele. Yes. Kutoba milaini emtondeni ukabani mani bamila ini bamila indlubu emtondeni ka Sothondosi washushaka
wathi le ndlubu zimnandi ngendlela ezamila emtondeni kwaSothondosi.
Hey madoda, nice to have you, my honorable king. I'll take the first segment, the first 15 minutes to introduce something that I think will be very interesting. The last time we were here, you did a service, you did a ceremony, and you mentioned some certain things that have been causing lots of chaos on the social media space.
Wow.
As to what are you now?
You
What's
are an archbishop.
I'm just giving you a report,
Okay,
your Highness. Yes. So there were lots of chaos that was happening there, and I would want just to put it into context that we are serious about the business of Embo, and we are going to build this greater kingdom of Embo to its previous glory. And while we are, and while you are, and while they are waiting for the kingdom that is in the sky, we believe that there's no way you can be looking for a kingdom in the sky when you have failed to develop the kingdom on the ground. Now, last night in Gelengele, when I was at my house, not last night, Friday night, so I'm at my house and I'm sleeping. And I received 3 words in my sleep. The first word is the Friday night. The first word is knowledge. The second word is power. The third word is the third word is it will come. The first one was knowledge, power, wisdom, and the last one was spirituality. So I got those 4 words, and then I discovered that the African or the Alkebulam or Embo or the Bantu or the Ntu, whatever you want to call them, we needed to start working across that kind of an understanding. Firstly, on the extreme right will be our ring for knowledge. And with knowledge, we are dealing with formal and informal education in all its fraternities and all the various disciplines that we actually have now in what they call universities and academia. And deliberately, it is right at the end. So you get your knowledge, but after you've received your knowledge, the question is, how do we convert, and how does Alkebulam, how does Bantu people convert that knowledge into power? Because with power, then we can, I was also given 7 divisions of power that are falling under the second one. Academic power, political power, economic power, as we already have it on the UKA 7 foundations. So we have a knowledge, we convert our knowledge into power. And after we've converted it into power, we move over to the 3rd level, which is now wisdom. Wisdom is ability to make decisions which are ethical, which are moral, which are truthful, and which are honest. Therefore, you see a progression that there are those who are educated, but the fact that you are educated does not mean that you're going to become powerful. And the fact that you are powerful does not mean that you are wise. And it moves us to the last section, which is now actually the spiritual section. Now, the European way of thinking, they think like this. That we hope that first things, and this is how we've been training our children. Go to school, please. Study, learn. And if you ask your parents, why must I study? They hope that after you have studied, you will also gain a little bit of power. And they are not even interested in saying, our children, please gather wisdom. And ultimately, we think that when you have everything here, then you're going to become spiritual. But in the Embo kingdom, what I'm hearing us saying is that we can actually convert the stick upside down and say, let's deal with African spirituality as a point of departure. And when we are connected with the spiritual world, this does with our heredity, our birth issues, rites of passage, connectivity to our ancestries, and everything that goes with it. From there, we'll be able to download the wisdom.
That's true. That's true.
So, without going to school, there are old people who are already at this level who have not seen a book that is at the end of the road. And Africans, we know that the spiritual world houses the knowledge that we need. We download, therefore, the wisdom. And from the wisdom, we grow that wisdom into power. And from power, when people come in contact with us, they're in touch with knowledge, wisdom, and power. And therefore, when an old man is holding a stick of this nature, and they are standing or sitting on their chair, thinking, they are already summarizing the entire framework of African thought pattern. So I'll do something that I've never done in my life, but because you appointed me as your bishop, I will return the favor and say, this will be the first official stick for governing Al-Kebulam. And I will write a proper manual for it. Our schools for the boys, our churches, our women, our children, our land, our cattle, our cultures, our wealth must be governed by a processed way of thinking. This is a library that we are giving you, Bayet. That going forward, you will find comfort in your conversations with other men, with other kings. That is, you are thinking, and as you are processing and leading, please constantly rub your conscience into this stick until what is in it becomes part of who you are as we are going forward. I present it to you. That's a gift from us here at Sankofa, and from Farmers of Thought, and from Universal Galaxy. And I know you have thousands of these. You have thousands of these, but for the purposes of the your honorable fellow Bayete, he has got sharp hands, and he is always busy doing other things. I also made these spikes that are pointing upwards. May they actually not allow any unnecessary energies to come in your space, but to say some emblems there, 4 emblems, which again represents the same compass that you have on the stick. I have put it on the headgear also, and with this small little 2 emblems, we. When you come back after the break, let the conversation begin here with King Bhungane. How do you build a nation? Don't go away. Be back right after the break.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in 4th Industrial Revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Welcome one, welcome all here again on our program here. We call this program Sankofa, looking backwards at the future in conversation with His Royal Highness King Bhungane III, all the way from the Embo Kingdom. He has been our constant guest here for the past, I think, 6 weeks now, 8 weeks. 8 weeks almost, where we have been tracing, following up, growing the greater knowledge of the African kings. And I said this on my the last time that we were here. It is important, if you have old people, wise people, chiefs and kings, whatever capacity that they are functioning in the community, and you know that there's some information that belongs to us here. We wanted to lay the foundation, and after putting the foundation, anyone else with the information can come around, and we try this foundation to see if it is strong enough to build the next generation for the greater African people. And as you have already known, today we're going to be discussing about the greater expanse. How do you build a nation? And I think when you look at the southern African kingdoms, we hear that the Khoisan, or the Khoi, or the Bushmen, or the Hottentots are the oldest tribes that are even said to be the owners of the land of the Great South. And I want us to explore that subject quite exhaustively and look at the genesis of the Bantu people one more time, and then just share with us how we break to become so many tribes, and then put the Khoisan in their correct basket, put them in their correct space, so that our conversations are not clouded with political knowledge that intends to divide us, rather than truthful knowledge that will actually bring us together and join us together. And when we put the king of the Khoisan here on the program, there was a big upheaval on the entire market. Other people saying there's no king in Khoisan, and someone even claiming that that one is not the king. I am the king. And the question is, have the Khoisan ever had a kingdom? And stuff like that. So, Bayet, start off by greeting us. And I know you're logging in and logging out, but start off by greeting us. This is our lesson time again to be learning the greater expanse of the African story. Over to you, my lord. Bayet.
Thank you very much. I think what we are going to be talking about, it is something that is long overdue, especially in the southern peak of South Africa. I think what is critical, it is for us to understand where we are originating from. You see, in the cradle of humankind, where we refer as Embo, the place of origin, it is in the Congo. Some people call it Ethiopia. Some people call it
Ruswa.
But the fact of the matter, it is where we come from. It is in the Congo.
The Great Nile.
The Great Nile. Now, before the Caucasians arrived, there were no borders. Our borders that we would identify of, it was rivers, but it was not demarcations for people not to cross. Absolutely not to cross. The reasons were because where Zomongange, who came out of the rivers next to the reeds, when he was having children, multiplying, they will then create demarcation to say, this is where you end up, so that another brother should be able to take over. Now, all this happens in the Congo. Now, when Khomo had different children, I would refer clans as part of the stock. We'll use the word stock so that people would understand what I'm talking about, tribes or clan. Now, what we today refer as the Khoi and the Sens, these are people who originate from Congo, where we come from. As they are coming from the Congo, remember, we had another group. Remember, we spoke about Mbele.
Yes.
We spoke about Khumalo,
Mkize.
Buchwa. There were other houses of Lomongange where also
the children and children,
absolutely,
children and children.
Absolutely. Other people would then decide, because they were looking for greener pastures, other people would then decide to go down,
others up,
south or up or north, wherever it is. Let me tell you why. You see, when you go today in what we call Morocco today, you find people who are referred as Bembe or Berber.
Berber. I've heard about the Berbers.
Now, when you look at the Berbers, these are the people who would find, according to the ancient history, these are the crafters of the caves.
The Berber.
The Berber. Now, when you go and look at them, these are people who look like us. Now, when you say, who are these people? These are the people who originate from the cradle of humankind, of Embo, who are referred as Abantu, Ontu. You understand? So as we're moving, looking for greener pasture, some went to the west, some north.
Because even the Berber of Morocco would sync with the Berbers of Ethiopia.
Absolutely.
Those who crafted the temples.
Absolutely.
In the great mountains of Ethiopia, the carving
now, remember,
caves,
remember, we have them in South Africa today, whom we refer as Amampembe.
Oh, Nanzo.
These are Berber. Why? Where does the name Berber, Bembe, you find them in the Congo, Bembe or Bebe today because of the pronunciation.
Just pronounce it.
Absolutely. Now you find those people in the Congo today, in Congo Brazzaville, you find them. In the DRC, you still find
Berbers.
The Berbers, but in the Congo they refer to them as Bembe people.
Bembe.
Here in South Africa we refer them as Amampembe.
Now in Zambia, the Bemba.
Bemba, absolutely. Now, when you interrogate the name Bembe, what does it mean? It simply means a tree that you find in summer, where it is used for traditional dresses. Today we wear what we call udili. Dili, it is something that is derived from that Bembe tree. It derives from the Bembe tree in terms of the design. That's why you see in Africa today, you see those dancers, they wear some tree that is
Actually,
dressed.
I would do something for you,
Yes,
Bayet. I have a small little piece of cloth
Yes.
that I bought in Uganda,
Yes.
which is actually made out of a tree bark.
That is Bembe.
I have a Bembe cloth.
That's the Bembe tree.
I have a Bembe cloth.
Yeah, because
I'll cut a piece for you.
Yes, wow, that would be wonderful.
It's small, little,
Yes.
just as a souvenir.
Absolutely.
So you can touch
Now,
it, and your ancestors can
absolutely
can breathe.
buy it. So that Bembe tree. Now, as people were growing, using that, dancing, celebrating, remembering Khomo, people then started renaming Abantu Basembo as Amabembe. When they go north, they are being referred as Berber. Okay? Now these are...
It's actually Bebe.
Bebe. Absolutely. Berber.
You can
understand? Absolutely. Now, in the side of Morocco, you'd find that there are caves that are being crafted by the very same people.
The Berbers.
The Berbers. You go and say the mixture now of the Berbers in terms of contamination, they mixed with the Arabs. Now, when you look at the history of the Arabs, you'd find that the people who became the leaders of Morocco, these are people who were originating from Prophet Muhammad, who later became, because of the religion, became the superior heads. But these were Bantu people also.
Yes. They used to be dark.
Absolutely.
They used to be dark. Because the Moors.
Absolutely, the Moors. I wanted to come to the Moors.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to come to the Moors because these are Moors. Now, when you're talking about those people, these are people who are possessing what we refer as melanin. Melanin, it is something that you find in us as the Bantu people. It is something that is designed like a pineal gland. It is something that releases a liquid, and this liquid makes you to connect with the cosmos. It makes you to connect with the waters. It makes you to connect with God. As you were, explaining about the stick. Now, we start, as you said, this is where we start. We start with the spirituality.
To the physical.
Absolutely, because spirituality is the one that molds you. From being molded, you graduate in categories for you to connect with the cosmos, to connect with the Creator. Then the Creator, you then build what we call friendship between you and the Creator. Then the Creator then is able to trust you with His secrets of the world. He then tells you about the trees. He then tells you
about the weather.
Absolutely. Lot of things. Now, out of that, you are now graduating, or you have graduated to a level of knowing things, because knowledge has been built out of that.
Yes.
Then you are able to say, let me then relay this knowledge that I have acquired into a piece of paper that becomes a book. You understand? That's where you end up. Now, I want
you end up at the end here.
Absolutely. Now, what you've just seen in your vision, it is true, because that is exactly how things are supposed to be. You don't start the way around.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, I want to come back to say, now, these are people, some went up, some went down. Now, when you look at these people, then you find the Khoi, because the discussion is about the Khoi. But these are same brothers, same family with the Zomos.
On the top.
On the top. Now, there is this breed that when you look at the map of Africa, you find from the Congo, when you move from the side of the sea of Angola, where do you go to? You descend down, you end up in the Cape.
Yes, you end up through Namibia.
Absolutely.
Swakopmund and...
No, I want to come to those ones.
Okay.
Now, there are those that are then referred as the Khoi. But these are the breeds that come from Central Africa, where we come from. Now, they end up at the end of the peak of the continent. This is the Cape, now the Western Cape. These people are then referred as the Khoi. Now they've got their livestock, they've got agricultural projects that they are busy doing. Then there is another migration. Again.
From the Congo.
From the Congo again. Now this migration, these people are now coming inland.
Straight up.
Now as they are moving from the Congo. They're moving from Zambia to Angola. When you say, when you look at the map from Angola, where do you go? You go to Namibia?
Yes.
Then you find the desert. Now, these are people who are now referred as the Sen. Now, the word or the name called Sen, it is a name that what we refer as forages. What is forages? It is a name that it simply means people who are going around picking up things on the ground, who do not have the land, who do not have livestock, who do not do anything with agriculture, but they move around picking up things. That's the meaning of Sen.
Who named them this?
It is the Khoi again. Who gave this name? These people must be referred as the Sen, because these are people who are picking up things on the ground.
Yeah, because this name is still there, Amasena.
Absolutely.
Yes, Sen. And by the way, on the same concept of Sen,
yes.
Actually I want to agree with you.
Yes.
Because when you get to Mozambique, there are the Sena tribes there.
Yes.
So in terms of that language of picking things on the ground,
absolutely,
the name actually sounds exactly the same.
Now these are the Khois who then decides to name these people
Sen,
because these are people who do not have a sense of responsibility, who do not have their land.
They're nomads.
They are nomads, what we call hunter-gatherers. Now, when you go back again, now remember we spoken about the Khoi, then there's this one who are moving now inland.
Yes.
There are those who are now living, who do not leave the area of what we call the Congo, whom we refer as the Hadzabe people. Hadza people. You still find them in Tanzania today. Hadza. Now, when you call the full name, it's called Hadzabe. Hadzabe.
Hadzabe.
Now, when you look at the pronunciation,
Aye, man. Who can miss it?
it's Khateb. Now, these are people who are now referred in terms of the historians. These are people who have been around the continent for tens
Of thousands.
and tens of thousand years before the existence of whatever. Now, these are Hadzabe people. When you go to Google, you Google Hadza language, you'd find it is similar to the same language that it is used by the very same people whom we refer as the San people. Because what happened, according to their migration, the Sans, you find them in Namibia, you find them in Angola, you find them in Botswana, you find them in South Africa, also Zimbabwe.
And Mozambique.
Now, these are people whom we would then refer as the San. If we reconcile with that
gatherers,
name.
basically.
The gatherers.
Which are almost similar to the Ethiopians also. You have the gatherers there.
Yes.
When I was in Israel, actually,
Yes.
I was shocked
Yes.
to discover that the original dwellers
Yes.
of the land of Negev.
Yes.
Zimnyama njengoyo malu.
No, it's true, because
I went there. I even took pictures there with the indigenous Israelis.
Now, to agree with you, I was invited by the then ambassador of Israel here in Pretoria. He agrees to that history. He says the Jews, the original Jewish people, are the people of Shiloh.
Shiloh.
They refer as
Maybe that's where this word shalom comes from.
He says Shiloh.
No, I'm saying.
And then I ask him, what is Shalom? He says, according to the history, Solomon he's the person who picked up that name to be used as that name. But Shlomo simply means Solomon, means the king.
Shlomo.
He says Shlomo is Shlomo. But we pronounce it as Shlomo. It's the same thing. Understand? Now,
I'm not listening. I'm hearing Siloam. I'm hearing Solomon. I'm hearing Shalom. I'm hearing Shlomo and
Shalom. Then when you then interrogate the history, then as they were moving in the Kalahari Desert, then you go back and look at the language of the San people. You look at the same language of the Hadza people today.
Same thing.
It's the same language. Now the question we should ask ourselves, who are these people? Where do they originate from? Because when you go today in Rwanda,
in Kagame's land there,
you find the same people. Now, Rwanda, it is part of the Congo. You understand? You go to Angola, it's the same story.
Maybe let's make this clear that without borders and colonial minds, the king that was dominant at the time, then you would find that the whole land of Africa, there's a time it was called Ethiopia.
Absolutely.
You look at another era, it was called Abyssinia.
Absolutely.
Another era, it was called Kush. Another era, it was called Egypt.
Yes.
So that in us trying to unbundle the ancient knowledge, our biggest blockage is our political understanding of what countries are now. And immediately you think of Africa as divided into countries. You'll have a problem in terms of processing the unity of the greater African continent in total. Because, I mean, the other day I was telling people that there are more pyramids in Sudan than there are in Egypt. And for that same reason, you'd find that the civilization of Egypt through Sudan into Nigeria and further down south. Well, the question that always lingers is that where and how do the Khoisan end up having the title of being the oldest on the continent, and who is their father and where are they coming from? But from what you're saying, since they were hunters and gatherers, if there's a family quarrel or a family dispute,